Okay, we're back at my buddy's horse barn today. We're going to be installing these garage doors here. The last video I showed you, we framed it all out, got it all trimmed up, ready to go for the doors. Today we're installing the doors. One of the issues we're going to run across, the panels he ended up picking up are a little different size, a little different shape than the ones we have. So we're going to try to make that work. I'm not sure how that's going to go yet. These doors here were regular 9x7, but we're adding one extra panel. So we got to cut some track, piece in some tracks, and make it work. We got the doors he had were given to him there, and he didn't have to pay nothing for them. So it's a pretty good deal. A little bit extra time putting them together and trying to make it work. I'm sure it'll work out fine. The first thing I like to do, folks, is I like to put all the parts and pieces. I like laying them out on the floor. Especially, I don't have no instructions, and this is a good way to get everything out so that you know what you got and you can look at. This here parts came from one door. Them parts are from another door. These tracks are etc. They're from another one. And these are the panels that we got laying up here. This is what we got to work with. So we're just going to piece them together, make them work. I did end up piecing this door together, and it came out fine. It does work good. Everything works fine on it. So I'm sure we can make the other one work too. And I'm just going to take you along on the process. This is the track here, folks. And you'll see the brackets that are on it. So what I ended up doing is I removed this here piece for now because I'm going to add an extension from here up. So I took that off of this one right here, and then what I did is I bolted a bracket, another bracket on here, and then this is a spare track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the 21 inches out of here, and the reason it's 21 inches is because that's the length of the other panel that we're putting on. If it was bigger, you'd have to cut it bigger, or smaller. But we're going to cut them in two pieces. I'm just going to use the zip disc, 21 inches, and then we're going to add it on to that track, and then put all the pieces back together where they were supposed to go originally. And we'll get that done, and then I'll show you what I got. This is what we got going now. I got that track installed, the first side, right here. What I ended up doing is I took the center of the opening, it was around there, and then I found out that I needed the track space to be 111. So I divided it into two. Over to this side, I measured it. It was 55.5. And I marked it. I put a level mark all the way down the board on the inside, right to the bottom. And then I bolted my brackets right on the edge of the level mark the whole way up to keep it nice and straight. There's that piece that I added in. That was the 20-inch piece, or 21 I think it was. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the upper track on the one side right across and bolt it down. And then after that's done, I'm going to start installing the panels. I'm not going to do the other side until all the panels are installed, and then I can put that bracket on last, that last track. I got all that mounted on, bolted to the wall, and then I bolted the piece that goes on the top. Right now I just got to tie it up with a piece of rope. I will block it and put it up properly, but right now the next step I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start putting the panels together, and then I'll start installing one panel at a time as I put it together. This is the first panel here, the one with the rubber on the bottom. That's your bottom weather strip right here. These here brackets go on the side, and then your cable hooks up to the corner here. That's for lifting the door. I got number one brackets here. I'm not 100% sure if that's where the number ones go, but that's what we did on the other door, and it seemed to work fine. So I got number one there, and the number one over there with the roller. These here came from a different door. These are a lot lighter weight. These aren't as heavy as the previous door we put up, so I'm just going to try to use up these brackets here and make the door work over in the opening there. I got the first panel put in place here. You can see that I just put the rollers on, slid it into the track here, and this side over here doesn't have the track on it yet. So once I get all the panels up, I'll slide the track over the rollers and bolt the track to the wall there. So here, you want to make sure your first panel is level, nice and level. You can see here, I had to shim up the bottom of that panel probably by, I think it's by about 7/8 of an inch. So the concrete slab is off level by 7/8 of an inch. So if you start level and you put the plumb on that, you make sure your track is nice and plumb, going straight up the wall. You should have no problem putting your panels together, because these panels are made to be square. So you got to start off on the right foot before you do anything. This is the next panel here. What I'm going to do is, since I have two sets of number 2 hinges there, the brackets, this panel here, I'm gonna put a number 2, and the next panel I'm gonna put a number 2, because we're adding an extra panel. So in the mix somewhere, we got to put another set of rollers, and that's what we have. So that's what I'm gonna use. So right now I'm just gonna, on the top of this panel, nothing on the bottom, because that's already on the one that's at the door. And on the top of this panel, I'm gonna put a roller, a center piece right here that doesn't have a roller in it. I'll take that out. And I'm going to put another number 2 on this side. And then once I get that panel installed, I'll show you again. Okay, we got the number 2 panel on, and it seems to be going good. You do want to check for level going up as you're going. That way, if you start to go off, you can make adjustments right away. Just keep an eye on everything as you're doing it. It is pretty windy out, so I put a brace right there just to keep the door tight to the frame. I don't think it's going to blow it over or anything, but just want to help it. And now we're going to start the third panel. Okay, that's the third panel installed. I got that one up, all bolted down. This is what we're going to be running into, folks. Okay, so this one here is the next panel going up. This one here, and you can see the extra panel we got from a different door. It's a different thickness, and it also has a different kind of end on it. So I'm not 100% sure how we're going to get that to work, but we're going to get it up there, and then we might have to put some washers behind the brackets, or maybe even cut a little piece of plywood plate or something just to build it out to give it the same thickness. But we're going to figure that one out once we get it up. That's panel number 4 we got installed, folks. We're getting ready to put that odd shaped panel on now. You can see the top hinges, they got a different shape to them. That's so that they can fit in the round of the door track. Okay, I got one on both sides. And now what I'm going to do, I think I'm just going to lay that in place, put a couple screws in it to hold it where it's got to go, and then I'll try to work the difference out and see what I need to do, and I'll get back to you once I do that. There's a quick look of the outside. It actually doesn't look too bad. Kind of matches the other panel. It's a little different shade, but if he wants to paint that up, he can paint it up. And as long as we can get it moving up and down, I think he's going to be happy with that. Okay, this is the other side here. I'm just getting ready. You can see all the rollers are put in place. And then all you have to do now with the track put together, you just put the track in and you wrap it around the wheels like that, and then just clip it in place. Once it's in where you want it, then you put the level on it and just bolt in all the brackets. Make sure the brackets are level and the track is where you want it, and bolt them in. And then after that's done, folks, I'll show you when I'm putting the top bracket on. Okay, I got that track all installed there. It's lag bolted right to the frame, right up. Now what I'm gonna do is install the top one. I'm gonna just hang a rope or something over here, just temporary, just like that one over there. So I can get help me hang the track. And then I'm gonna bolt it in place just like this one over here. And then once I get that in, I'll show you that. And then after that, I think what I'll do is I'll measure it all off and then put the blocks in just like on this one over here. I'll put the bracket in to hold up the track so it can be opened. Okay, all the brackets are on now, all the track. You can see I put it on. This one here I just got tied up also. Just for now. You can see at the end of the bracket there's two bearings there that the rod goes through with the spring on it. So what you want to do is kind of center the spring up. You put the drums on before you slide them in the bearings of the end. Now everything, folks, they all got a right and a left when you're putting in a door. So make sure, and it's when you're looking at it like this, the left side would be the left and the right would be the right. And that way you can put your tracks and all your drums and stuff together. That's how it's looking so far. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the cables down the sides, hook onto the bottom pin. I'll show you what that pin looks like right now where it's going to be hooked. See that little spot in the back? It's got a wrap around. Cable hooks onto that, goes up and it wraps around the drum, and then you tighten the drum down. And then when you do that, then you can start tightening the spring. You got to do it on both sides. What I'm going to do now, the cables we had are too short, so I got to pick up two longer cables. So while I'm waiting for them to show up, because I got my buddy's going to pick them up on his way home, I'm going to block this here track. I'm going to put a block coming down so it supports it. So what I'm going to do is take a measurement right from the edge here to the wall, and then I'm going to go back here from the wall straight out. So that way I keep it square with the building. And then once I get the first one blocked and put in up here, like the 2x4 down, I can just measure off that one to the other one and it'll be the exact same. And I'll show you over here. See, this is what I got going. A lot of people put perforated steel angle there and bolt it in and stuff, but we never had none here. So this is what we used and it works. I am going to put some braces on it. But right now it's just hanging there. Just dropped it down and it's hanging. So that's what I'm going to do to this door over here. Okay, we got these blocks put in. They're all mounted up. The tracks are screwed into the blocks. Everything's square. And our cable showed up. So what I did is I fed the cable down through the inner part of the track here. And I hooked it on. There's a little loop. So you hook it on that bottom part. Now, you wrap it around the drum, get it tight with your hand, and then you clamp the drum down. There's two bolts right on the drum there. You just tighten them down, that'll hold it in place. And then you got to do that to both sides. And then once that's done, I'll show you how we're going to tighten up the spring. This is the drum here, folks. I'm going to show you this. We got to buy an aftermarket cable because we need a cable that was longer. And it doesn't have nothing on the end that actually hooks to the thing, to the drum here. So what we ended up doing is wrapping it around, drilling a hole through the drum, and putting two self-tappers in it to hold the cable so it can't slide. I'll show you what we did now in a minute after I get this drum set up and tightened in. This is what we did here, folks. We wrapped it around. I put the clamp on it to hold the bar in place. And then we drill the hole, poke the wire through, and put two self-tappers to keep the wire or the cable from sliding out. This is the door here. All the cables are set up. Everything's ready to go. Now I'm just going to start tightening the spring and lock it down. And that should be the end of it, hopefully. Okay, spring's all tightened up. I had it on backwards, so I had to pull it apart and just switch it around. And you can see the bracket there when you're putting them on. I guess that's the indicator that it got to be facing out. The tall part of the bracket got to be on the top and the small on the bottom. Then you just bolt it into the header there. That's all set up. Everything's working. I'll show you a video of it working up and down. Right, folks, this is the finished product of the door. Everything's working. I'm just going to show you here. It all works good. Pretty easy. Lift up and down. Eventually he's going to put a garage door opener in it, but we don't have that right now. And like I said, I think my buddy there called maybe 3 or 4 people that actually install doors. Nobody wanted to touch it, and half of them said that it wouldn't even work. So it did work, turned out good, and this is it. That garage door project, folks, it's all wrapped up. This is the end of it. One thing I don't think I showed you is these bars here that for tightening the spring. I bought them at Home Depot. It was only 11 bucks. It's a 1/2 inch by 36 inch dowel, steel round dowel. I just cut them in half and cleaned up the edges, and they fit perfect in that spring for tightening it up. Gives it a nice good fit, easy to do. Gives you lots of leverage. I'm not no pro at installing garage doors. That might have been the 6th door I installed in my life, and it did turn out good. Everything worked on it. I had a few hiccups there, but it was pieced together too, and there was no instructions or nothing with it, so we just had to make it work. But all in all, he's happy with it. The door's open, and if you like these videos, please subscribe. Stay tuned for future videos like this, because probably going to be seeing lots of this stuff. And hit the thumbs up if you don't mind. I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.